Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Fighter and the Analyst. I'm your host, GK The Fight Analyst, and this here is my man, the Joker himself, Peter Petties. What's up, bro? How's it going?
It's going good. Life is good. We're just grinding over here at Team Lloyd Irvin in Maryland. We're coming off a big win with Tefan and Chukwi, who I had gave
Hey.
the inside scoop to my man Garrett about a month ago,
Yes, he did.
saying he was
Yes,
going to
he
murder this
did.
guy, and then he delivered with a murderous KO in round 2 of the Contender Series. So it's been good. It's been training's been good. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Yeah, I see, man. I mean, like I said, we were talking about it earlier, putting in that work. I see you up and at 'em early in the morning, getting that work in. But like, how's training going? With everybody, having fights and all that. What's been going on? Anything on the horizon? What is new?
Right now it's been good. Vibes have been good. We're all putting in hard work. Right now our training schedule is insane. As you said, we are rising up early in the morning. Right now we just Master Lloyd just brought in another strength and conditioning coach. Where man, he has some intense workouts. We're being strapped to these bands and medicine balls, and these medicine balls are weighing like 8 pounds. We have 10-pound jump ropes that we have to do. It's been a killer workout, and that's only one of the strength and conditioning workouts. So, you add that, and then we go straight to striking at 10 in the morning, and then from there we get a little break, and then we're back at night for jiu-jitsu. But no, you know what? It's been good. It's been welcoming. Tefan coming straight off his contender victory. Sadiq still in camp for Edson Barboza, which is going to be an insane fight.
That's
Um,
pretty crazy, bro.
yeah, it's been honestly the room has been good. We still got some guys who are going to make their pro debut soon. A few other people, that not many people know about. So we're a small team, but we've been garnering some big results, and it's been a long time coming. So it's exciting. It's definitely an exciting time.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, we were talking about Tefan, and that's hence why I went out to Vegas. You know, play some bets on that man. Came in. That was arguably the most devastating knockout in Contender Series history, bar none. That dude looked lifeless. I never seen anyone just laid out like that on the mat, just like that. It like he didn't even get full extension. It was like it looked like it was toes to chin, and that was it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, that was like probably one of the scarier ones because when you're watching it live too, they like the result was awkwardly late because it was like 5 minutes. They're like, "Oh, Matavo's still out," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
they're just like laying there. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, what the hell just
yeah,
happened?
yeah, you wish speedy results. I know Tefan and them said when he actually got up, he started throwing up. That's not a good sign. That's a sign of like a severe concussion. So
Oh
yeah,
shit!
yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Damn. I mean, like, kudos to him for even taking that fight because he was immensely undersized in that fight. Like,
Mhm.
immensely undersized. And I mean, he fought his ass off in that first round. It kind of got me a little worried. I mean, like, I know nothing was hurting. Nothing was hurting him, like, at all. Nothing was getting through. But he was just a busier fighter. But then, after I thought about it, I know Tefan, he doesn't throw a lot of volume, but when he throws heavy, he connects, he lands, and he puts people away. And it's exactly what happened. I mean, like once he started just throwing in that second round, he's like, all right, I got my feeling. You're tired. I see you gassing. Let me come forward. He threw his combinations and that's all she wrote. That was beautiful, man.
It's technique, man. Technique. We have this little saying at the gym: skills pay the bills, man. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, 9 out of 10 times, the skills are always going to prevail. Yes, you have your blooper reels that happen. I will give Al credit. He moved his feet really good. I think the number one thing um, was you can't. I don't want to say you can't throw, but when you have two people and one person's engaged and the other one's moving at the same time, you're just Tefan was chasing him the whole round. So it's like, all
Yeah, it
right,
was.
eventually once he got him to plant his feet, you saw it was all she wrote. So, but I
Yeah.
will say, for the first round, he came in with a good game plan. And I wish him the best of luck moving forward. He might even be able to get in there. I really hope he drops to 85 eventually.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's just about learning and coming back from it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited for Teflon to get back in there, man. I'm hoping he gets another fight before the end of the year. That would be great for him. I think there's just a lot of promise for him. But enough talking about him. What do we have for you? Are we getting anything coming up soon? Maybe, kinda.
I'm just enjoying training right now. Weird things are like I'm in shape. What I mean by that is, all through the summer and everything was about first, let me get my weight down. Let me get my cardio up. Right now, I can spar like we do our sparring at the gym is 6 5-minute rounds. You usually get a break after round three. Yesterday I did 6 straight. So I feel good, 5 minutes in, it was to the point where 5 minutes will be like, dang, that was a fast 5 minutes. So I'm feeling good cardio wise. I'm still trying to drop some of the weight. Now I'm walking in the 90s, which is a lot better than I was walking in the 200s about a month and a half ago, granted. So yeah, I think by the end of September I'll be low 80s, mid 80s possibly. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, November, December-ish. That is my goal. I wouldn't even mind late October, but I'm also not trying to rush it. Right now I'm just enjoying it. And if the opportunity presents itself with a good name who's going to take the fight, then I'll be down. But at the same time, I'm just enjoying training, enjoying the mindset. And I know opportunities are going to come. I just want to make sure that everything's firing all cylinders at that time. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and when you do finally get back in there, are we seeing you at 55? Are we seeing you back down at 45?
I haven't I mean, I really don't want to cut weight during this pandemic. Mainly because, wherever we fight, the gym access is kind of sketchy. You don't know if you're going to have access to a sauna. You don't know if you're going to have what you're going to have access to. So, with all the uncertainties going on during Corona, I'd rather fight up as opposed to cut so much weight. So, for the right opportunity, I wouldn't even mind fighting 70. As long as it's just not like, a 7-year who's cutting from 250. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
true. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind fighting a regular 7-year who doesn't feel like cutting weight like myself. But, I think for the first fight back, definitely 55 is a good weight once I get it down a little bit more. And then eventually maybe back to 45. But if I do go back to 45, I definitely want to walk lower. So, meaning walk around generally maybe 60s as opposed to walking high 70s as I did normally before.
Damn, that's a huge cut, bro. I don't even know how the fuck you even do that. Like, let's say before, like 24 to 48 hours out on a normal 145-pound fight, how much you cutting?
I believe we started a cut normally at like 60. Yeah. 60 is where we'll start the bath process at. Yeah, about there.
So you're
So
cutting essentially 15 pounds.
yep.
That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
insanity, bro. Well,
Yeah. I mean, it's a little rough cut, but it's not for the faint hearted, I always tell people.
yeah, that's true, man. I mean, you guys and what you guys are able to do inside and outside of the octagon. I mean, it's impressive. There's only so many people do it for a reason on this planet because it's not the like you said, it's not for the faint of heart, man. It's a hard thing to call as your day job. You're a professional MMA fighter. People look at you like, what the fuck, really? I'm sure they do. But yeah, man, I am so happy that we're finally back. I know we took a little bit of hiatus. I was away. Schedule conflicts happen. It happens, but we're back. We're about to make some more money tonight. 14 fight card is upon us tonight, starting in just a little over 2 hours, around 5 o'clock. I think it's the start time. Gonna be insane. We have top to bottom fantastic fights. So let's just jump right into it because we got a lot to talk about. All right, so first up on the preliminary card, we have a fight at 125 pounds between Tyson Nam and Jerome Rivera. Right now, Tyson Nam's a minus 190 favorite, and to come back on Jerome Rivera's a plus 175 underdog. What do you got?
This is a tough fight to call a little bit. I am leaning towards Tyson Nam personally, just because I don't know much about Jerome Rivera, but at the same time, this is one that I am not playing at all. This just seems like one of those fights that should be a gimme, but I just don't trust it at all.
Yeah, I took Tyson Nam at minus 170. He's getting around the price I really don't want to pay for him, even though I do think he should be a minus 200, minus 220 favorite. I just don't want to bet him there. But I think he's far better everywhere. Way better striker, immensely better striker. Jerome Rivera is a very tall, lanky 125er. He's 5'11" for 125 pounds. I don't even know how he makes 125. He arguably lost his Contender Series fight against a much smaller, I think even a smaller opponent than Tyson Nam. And he arguably lost 29-28, possibly even 30-27. But he was gifted a decision win. I was on Rivera, and I think he lost that fight, point blank. And he didn't get the nod. He didn't get the contract, and rightfully so. I didn't think he looked good. And now he's got to fight against Tyson Nam because Matt Schnell pulled out last week during his weight cut. So now Rivera only got this fight because he needed somebody on a week's notice. This is at 125, not 135. So he had to cut to 125 in a week. I don't know. I don't think Rivera is really that good. 7 of his 10 wins are via submission. The 31 fights of Tyson Nam's career, he's never been submitted in 31 fights. Don't know how Rivera is going to win this in a striking match. Especially Nam is a really good striker. He showed it in his last fight against a world-class kickboxer and knocked him out within the first, 15, 20 seconds. He just landed one right hand, and that was all she wrote. I think the same thing happens here. Rivera is absolutely hittable. He's got that tall man syndrome, leaves his head up, straight up. It's just super easy to telegraph once he throws those push kicks that he likes to do a lot. I got Tyson Nam here. I think he absolutely cracks his chin within the first 2 rounds and puts him out. I don't like minus 190, but I still think he's the right side. Maybe you could put him in a little parlay. All right, so next up, we have a fight in the bantamweight division between Andre Ewell and Erwin Rivera. Right now, Ewell's a minus 210 favorite in the comeback on Rivera's a plus 190 underdog. Who do you got?
I like Rivera mainly because when I was down at Sanford, he was one of those guys who, he would just pull up to practice with his baby on the side, kind of like no excuse type of guy, always showed up, hard worker. The one thing I will say is I think the size advantage and the reach advantage with Ewell is huge. But with the odds, I just don't trust Ewell against. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree 100%.
I don't think the odds should be that big. I think he's won a few splits that he maybe shouldn't have won. So this is another one of those I'm sitting on. But if I was to play, I would go Rivera just by the odds. Honestly, doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I agree as well. Ewell at minus 210 is just ridiculous. He fights a lot of his fights way too close, and this is going to be another one of them for sure. There's a fight going to a decision. It's not going to be an easy decision. It's going to be a close decision, and minus 210 on a close decision is just absurd. Rivera, he's a dog. He comes in there, he puts in the work, like you said. He's going to try to get the fight to the mat. Ewell has shown that he's susceptible to takedowns. But if I'm picking a winner, I think Ewell does edge out a decision because he is the better striker. He's got the longer reach. He is a taller guy. He just is the better striker overall. But as the odds, I will definitely not bet on Ewell on minus 210. Maybe if it was a closer line where I think it should be around minus 150 or so, I would probably take a stab. But Ewell minus 210 is an absolute stay away. I'm pretty much staying away from this fight entirely because there's no value, I think, on either side. All right, next up in the bantamweight division? Yes, on the bantamweight division, we have a fight between Randy Costa and Journey Newson. Right now, it's almost basically a pick 'em. Newson is a minus 120 favorite, and the comeback on Randy Costa is a plus 110 underdog. Who do you got?
Enjoying my tacos.
No, you're good, man. Don't worry.
Let me see. This fight I will say is another toss up. I am leaning towards Newsom on this, based off the wrestling experience and from the short videos that I've seen on him. Costa, you just don't know much about him. I think let me go back. There was one that I was really one of his fights that I was really against him. Let's see. Yeah, when he took that L to Brandon Davis, I was like, all right, this guy's not that good at all. And so I went like full tilt on Boston Sam. Then he knocked out Boston, and I was like, fuck, And
Yeah, I know. I
know,
did the
I
same
think
thing too.
it's one of those where it's like, what do we really know? I couldn't tell if that was more of Costa or if that was more of Boston Salmon's chin. You know what I mean? I'm gonna lean towards that was more of Boston Salmon's chin, and I'm leaning with Journey Newsom on this. I actually put him in a few of my parlays already, so I am leaning with him heavy on this one.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. I mean, Costa's beaten absolutely nobody. He's barely been out of the first round. The only time he's been out of the first round, he was submitted. Newson has really good footwork. He's got pop behind his punches. He's got the wrestling and jiu-jitsu advantages. He's 9-2 versus 5-1. Costa's claim to fame is his knockout against in his last fight against Salmon, and Salmon got knocked out in 3 straight fights. I don't care that it was a DQ in his LFA debut. He got knocked out cold by a knee, by almost like basically a flying knee. I know it was on the ground, but he was kind of coming up. The knee was still down, but still he was knocked unconscious in 3 back-to-back fights. That's a whole chin issue. That's not a Randy Costa. I know Costa has multiple knockouts. All 5 of his wins are by first round knockout. But he's not got this like Cody Garbrandt type power at 135 pounds. I think he's just got to show me that he's got this insane power. I'm not going to bet on Costa and his power at plus 100 because I think Newson is the far better mixed martial artist here. I know Costa has been training over at ATT after his last fight against Salmon. He went from Joe Lozon's gym down here to ATT. So maybe he's been improved. Maybe he's improved his cardio. Maybe he's improved his wrestling. But those are all question marks. And you're getting a guy with a bunch of question marks at plus 100 that has some knockout power, but it's at 135, and he's beaten and knocked out a bunch of nobodies. The only decent fighter that he faced, Brandon Davis, did not get knocked out, and he's been finished numerous times in his career. So I'm taking Journey Newson here. I think you're getting a good price at minus 120. I think he's the far more experienced fighter, faced the far better fighters as well. Like he even took down Ricardo Ramos. He took him down twice, didn't get subbed. So that was also very, very impressive since Ramos is a very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, yada, yada, yada. I'm taking Newson here, minus 120. I think it's great. All right, sorry about that, everybody. Technical difficulties. I have no idea what happened. I think it was my computer. I need to update my computer, everybody. As you can see, one day, soon, guys, soon. I will get a better computer. I won't be lagging as much. Look clearer. I don't know what's wrong with this computer, but it has gone low HD. But all right, I'm gonna do this on my phone because it's what's it called? It's fucking up. All right. So yeah, next fight on our card that we were interrupted on is a fight between Derek Minner and TJ Laramie in the featherweight division. Right now, Laramie is a minus 315 favorite, and the comeback on Minner's a plus 285 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going huge on TJ Laramie. I think this is
Yes.
actually a gimme fight. Derek Minner, I know him from the local scene. I know me and Sadiq were actually trying to fight him on the come up, and then we both got denied in
Damn it!
BFC.
Damn
Yeah,
it!
in BFC, and he said no. But yeah, no, I think he's one of those guys. He's a small. They're both actually small for 45.
Yeah,
Um, but I just think Derek Minner doesn't have the technique to really hang with TJ Laramie. I think TJ Laramie, I would say Derek Minner's probably better at jiu-jitsu, but I don't think he's gonna have the skill to really submit TJ Laramie. At the same time, I just don't think Derek Minner should be in the UFC.
he
As
shouldn't.
bad
He
as it
shouldn't.
sounds, it
No
just
way.
seems like one of those where got signed on a short notice, and he is back against the wall. But I think after this and maybe one other one, he'll get his papers. But outside of that, yeah, I think skill wise, this is a gimme fight for TJ Laramie. Probably the easiest fight he could have got at 45. And yeah, I'm all over TJ in this.
Bro, like that's night and day. Exactly what I am envisioning in this fight. It's exactly the same. I said this time to everybody. This is the easiest debut for TJ Laramie, especially on short notice because it's the same exact fighter as Daniel Swain, except Daniel Swain is a much, much, much better wrestler than Derek Minner. Same exact fight. So he really doesn't have the game plan so much differently. He doesn't have to go against a striker. He doesn't have to go against a wrestler. No, he's going against the same exact type of fighter. And Daniel Swain. Also, Swain was much, much, much bigger than Derek Minner as well. So I think he has this all day. He has a striking advantage. He has the wrestling to keep it standing. He has a wrestler to take it down. I don't see Minner being able to get an arm bar off his back. He's not going to get a sweep. He's not going to do anything. TJ Laramie is getting the easiest debut on short notice that he could ask for. Minus 315, not a great line, but this is an absolute gimme. He should be in every single one of your parlays. Lock and load. TJ Laramie, easiest bet on the entire night. All right. So, next up in the women's bantamweight division, we have a fight between Jessica Rose Clark and Sarah Alper. Right now, Clark's a minus 210 favorite, and Alper is a plus 190 underdog. Who do you got?
I am going with, I believe, Alper on this one. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure. Yep, Alper. I think just the odds are very nice in this fight for Alper. I think Jessica Rose Clark hasn't really impressed me with too much for her to be this big of a favorite. So yeah, I'm going big on Alper. I actually have her in a few of my parlays as well.
I agree with you here as well. I like Jessica Rose Clark, always been a fan of hers, but minus 210 is ridiculous for her. She's moving up to 135 for this fight. She's coming off the surgery off her last fight. She hasn't fought in a while. Alper, I know, hasn't fought since the last Contender Series fight. But she was impressive. She had good wrestling. She had good jiu-jitsu. She got the submission win. She fought an actually a pretty good prospect in Shayna Young as well. She's been looking good. I know she's not going to overwhelm a ton of these girls, especially at 135, but I think she has enough to beat Jessica Rose Clark here. I mean, Jessica Clark has only beaten Beck Rawlings and Paige Van Zandt. I mean, that's her claim to fame. That's it. I mean, she lost her last two fights, and she's now a minus 210 favorite because Alper is a UFC debuter and she hasn't fought anybody, but that's I think she's fought in better competition than Clark has, to be honest with you. She's beaten better competition than Clark has. And she's a plus 190 favorite in a fight that's probably 50-50. Yeah, give me it's going to be a close decision either way. So I'm taking Alper plus 190. I actually even took her by decision at plus 240. So I think that I think she could edge out a decision. Just keep it, in a clinch up against the cage and grinding type of fight. So and plus 240 on a fight that's probably going to a decision. I'll take that all day, every day. All right. Next up in another fight in the women's flyweight division, we have a fight between Mara Romero Barella and Mayra Bueno Silva. Right now, Silva is a minus 250 favorite, and to come back, Barella is a plus 230 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going Silva. I've actually put her in a few of my parlays as well. It's hard to trust, though the odds seem tempting. It's hard to trust a girl who's 12-8 on a 3-fight losing streak, and it's not. I can understand if you're on a 3-fight losing streak by decisions, split decisions, but when you're getting finished, almost, she got armbarred by Courtney Casey, who
Did you watch
isn't a
that
ground
fight?
specialist, huh?
Did you watch that fight?
Yes.
Oh my God, that was bad. Like that's like that. Like I don't do jiu-jitsu. I've done a little bit, but jiu-jitsu 101 is you don't jump into guard arm first like this. So it's just like you're giving.
Yes, exactly, and that's the biggest thing. It's like I can respect if you get armbarred by a black belt or someone like Mackenzie Dern or like a legit skill set black belt, but you're getting armbarred by Courtney Casey, who might be a blue belt. Maybe
No,
I'll give her a purple.
She's actually a black belt.
Courtney Casey's a black belt?
She's a black belt.
Really?
She's a legit black belt. Yeah, crazy.
Okay. Well, I'll take that back. But nonetheless, I don't think she is a credentialed IBJJF. That's the
no.
Yeah,
no. She's not that. Like she's a black belt.
Yes. Not all black belts are created the same. So that's how I look at it in that respect. But even then, she got finished by Lauren Murphy, lost a decision to Montana De Rosa. It's one of those things where I cannot, I just don't see this going too well for her against Silva. Silva has a bunch of submissions on her record. She had a good fight with, I think, Moraz or whatever. And I think, honestly, this is almost like one. And I was impressed by her armbar against Jillian Robertson. So, that really made me. There are a few names that I wrote in my book for chicks. Like, if I get impressed, I write their name down and I put, on the side. So I remember their next fight. Like, the last chick that the one that Shauna upset. I was really impressed by her. But Shauna's my homegirl. She used to train out here before she moved to Elevation. And I was like, damn, plus 900, y'all can't keep playing Shauna like that. So, and then she actually won. So I'm kicking myself. We had a joke in our group chat. Our striking coach was like, man, y'all should put 1,000 on Shauna.
Wow.
I put 100. Nice. We all put I put 100. I know Tefan put something too, like 100 or so.
But man, see, that's the type of stuff you gotta tell them, man. Be like, don't be like, yo, I got this. Like how you did with Tefan, do the same thing with these underdogs, bro. I know like I got caught up in the hype, man. Why would I even put a minus 1,100 in the parlays beyond me, bro?
Man, I'm actually like some of that stuff. Like even last week, my girlfriend keeps telling me, stop harping on the past. I'm kicking myself about last week because this is an off-brand story, but I decided to chill out from betting last week because my niece and nephew were sleeping over. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be engaged in these fights. Yeah. In the back of my head, remember I asked you, I was like, hey, what do you know? I didn't know about Sarge's opponent. I asked you, I was like, hey, what do you know about Sarge's opponent? You're like, nah, bro. And then Sarge won. Not only Sarge. Yeah. Roxanne won. Roxanne. Yeah. I love That's Roxanne. Crazy. And then Ed Herman won. In my head, I was like, damn, if I would have played how I normally played, I probably would have made like $3,000 or $4,000 that night.
Easy, bro. Easy. But it was a crazy night. It really was because did you watch the Angela Hill fight?
Yes, I did watch that fight. I did.
You can't tell me that she lost. Did she lose that fight? No way.
No, I would say if I had to score it, Angela Hill had 1 and 2. Waterson got 3 and 4. And I thought based on that fifth round, even the last 10-second flurry in that clinch, I gave it to Hill. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was night and day. And then even if you just look at the two, one looks like she went for a jog outside. The other one looked like she got hit with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Hill's been screwed on back-to-back decisions, and she should be in contention to be fighting for the strawweight title. That's just the craziest thing to me. It really is, because she's so much better than her record shows, especially the last two fights. And it sucks because she's not going to – I'm just harping here because I think she's so much better than what these judges – and I guess she doesn't have the style to win judges' scorecards. I don't know what it is. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's MMA, man. MMA. That's why I say at the end of the day, you can't get caught up in records. This is why we do this show, because there's a lot of – the cool thing is for people who watch fights and stuff, Angela Hill's next fight, hopefully she's like a severe underdog and she's going to get people pain,
Yeah, I know. I wish, man, because, she's just been getting screwed, big time. But let's see. I mean – I'm so tempted to take her again, but then I hate to get screwed not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row on decisions. So, I guess we'll see on that. But yeah, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Silva. As far as Silva goes, I'm taking Silva via submission at plus 200. I mean, if you show me how bad you are on the mat like that against Courtney Casey, yeah, I'm going to take a stab on literally anybody against you at plus 200 via submission. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. That was extremely bad to see. I took Barella in that fight by submission. She took her down easily like I knew she would. But then she just played dumb and just played the guard game. I'm like, you're not even trying to pass, and then you jump back into guard. I'm like, all right, you're auto fade no matter who you're fighting. She shouldn't even be in the UFC after her last loss, but they still need fighters to fight. So Silva plus 200 by submission. I think that's the only way, or submission or a decision prop. But I'm taking Silva to win it by submission because Barella's gonna take her down. She's gonna play the guard game. She's gonna get an armbar. That's how I feel. All right, so. Next up, we got a fight in the featherweight division between Mirsad Bektic and Damon Jackson. Right now, Bektic is a minus 370 favorite, and the comeback on Damon Jackson is a plus 330 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going with Bektic. I actually put in my ticket before the opponent switched, so I'm hoping the bookie, or not even the bookie, I'm hoping we have a new
voided. They got voided.
They get voided? Okay. Well,
yeah. So you have to rebet it. You have to rebet.
Okay, perfect. Well, at least I guess I'm a little nervous because Jackson, I think, has the skill set to make this a little bit interesting. I think that shit can get caught in a submission. But the question is, how much has he been training? He came off that devastating knockout last year in the PFL where he was on every ESPN highlight reel. I was fighting that night. I remember watching it like, holy shit. And, so it's one of those things for this to be, I think he had one in between for him to then come into the UFC off that. It all depends how he shows up, but I can see an upset. It's one of those where I feel like I sniff out dogs pretty good. And I think this is a good little upset to look at possibly if you're looking for a dog tonight.
Yeah. I'm not big on taking dogs, but this is my dog on the night. I think people are underestimating Damon Jackson. This is a far, far, far harder matchup for Bektic to game plan for in only 24 hours than Gorigori, who was just going to straight up kickbox. Damon Jackson has some grappling chops. He's got some jiu-jitsu. He's an okay striker. But we know Bektic likes to come out, balls to the wall, first round. And that's what he's going to do here. He's amped up. He's talking trash at the weigh-ins because that's how he fights. I think he's going to go balls out first round, and then he's going to gas out, and then he's going to leave himself open to a sweep on the mat or he's going to get his back and he's going to take him down. Damon Jackson is actually the bigger fighter of the two. He's much taller, much longer, lankier, and I think those long limbs is going to help him drag him to the mat, take his back, and maybe choke him out late second or in late third round because Baxter has gas. I mean, we're talking I cast plus 600 against him because he gassed a few years ago against the Damage. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing I'm hoping here. I don't think you should take him at minus 370 favorites. I know he's got a lot of hype behind him. He was a top prospect, but we've seen time and time again that he gasses in his fights, and he just has bad fight IQ, even though he has the intangibles to win pretty much every single fight. But I'm taking the dog here, plus 310, I believe. I think that's a pretty good, crazy dog play. I really do. Plus 330. And mind you, they're respecting Damon Jackson enough to give him better of a chance to win than Gory on 24 hours notice. Think about that. He's only taking this fight on 24 hours notice, and he's plus 330. Gory was plus 4 something, and he had a full camp. So they're giving Damon Jackson a better chance to win this fight. Think about that. When you're looking at the lines, you kind of have to think to yourself, this guy takes this fight on 24 hours notice, and he's getting better odds on the odds makers than a guy that's taking this fight on, 6 to 8 weeks of a training camp? There's something fishy there. So who you take? Silva? Yes, I will. Chris, I would take Silva over Barella in that fight. All right, so next up, we have a fight in the flyweight division between David Dvorak and Jordan Espinoza. Right now, Espinoza minus what? It's basically a pick-up, minus 107 to minus 103. Who do you got in this one?
This is a tough one. I know I'm staying off it for the most part. Don't really know much about David Dvorak. Outside of that, I know looking at his record here, he has a pretty good winning streak going on against decent competition. Let's see. Yeah, not bad competition. Espinoza, I've been trying to believe in him since he got in the UFC, but I just feel like some fights he just lets me down a little bit with Matt Chanel as well as Alex Perez. But at the same time, they both have emerged as real prospects in that division. So this one's honestly really, really tough to call. If I have to go off just track record, I'm leaning towards David Dvorak just based off of his record and his win streak at this point. But I'm not playing this at all.
I kind of like Espinoza in this fight, especially if Dvorak is coming in with the mindset that he's going to come in and strike with Espinoza. He only went for one takedown against Silva in his last fight, so it leads me to believe he's got the game plan. He's thinking he's going to come in and strike with Espinoza. Well, that's going to be a very, very, very bad game plan. Espinoza I think he's one of the better strikers at 125 pounds. He doesn't get hit a lot. He defends over 60% of strikes against him. He lands almost 60% as well. And Dvorak was letting Bruno Silva, who's not a good striker whatsoever, land 50% of his strikes. That's not good at all. So if Dvorak thinks he's going to come in here, outbox and outstrike Espinoza, he's got another thing coming. He needs to take this to the mat, and he needs to submit him. If he doesn't do that, I think Espinoza has this all day. So this is why it's a complete pick 'em. We don't know who's going to have the better game plan. We don't know who's going to implement it better. I don't think Dvorak is a big wrestling and BJJ threat as like an Alex Perez or a Matt Chanel. I think he's better. He likes to fight on the feet, and he likes to brawl more. But he does have some grappling chops. But I think he's not on the level of Perez and Chanel when it comes to jiu-jitsu. I think Espinoza has good enough wrestling to keep this fight on the feet. He's also fought at 135 pounds. Taking Espinoza here to win a close decision. All right, so Next up, we have a fight between Kevin Holland and Darren Stewart in the middleweight division. Right now, Kevin Holland's on minus 260 favorite, and the comeback on Darren Stewart is a plus 240 underdog. Who do you got?
A little bit of a tough fight here. I was actually very impressed with Darren Stewart and his Maki fight. However, the choke that he got on Maki, he's not going to get on Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, I know, is not a decorated. I know he's a black belt. Really good on the ground. Only thing about it is he's a slow starter. However, I just think he has the size advantage, the skill advantage. I was very impressed with his right hand that he landed in the last fight. He showed a lot of patience, relaxation during that fight against Buckley, and eventually picked his poison and found his shot. So, I don't think I like the odds on Darren Stewart, but I just don't think he gets it done. I don't think he's big enough to really close that distance on Holland. And I think Holland picks him apart to a decision. As long as he doesn't make it an ugly decision and make it a split and have us on the edge of our seats, I think Kevin Holland makes the season.
Yeah, that's pretty much to a T how I have this fight going. Kevin Holland has looked impressive, very, very impressive in his last couple of fights. I know it was against Joaquin Buckley, who took it on short notice, but still impressive. Joaquin Buckley still has power in his hands. He's got insane strength and all that. He looked poised. He took his shots and came back firing and actually put him out. Darren Stewart, I think they got about the same amount of power between Buckley and Stewart. Stewart just a little bit more technical, but he doesn't throw a ton of volume. That reach advantage is going to work wonders for Kevin Holland to stay at distance. And even if it gets to the grappling, he doesn't want to take this fight to the mat because crazy stat here that no one has been talking about. Darren Stewart is 1 in 5 when he lands one takedown in a fight.
Oh, wow.
He's only beaten Deron Winn when he's landed one takedown. Every other fight, he was 0-4 before that.
Yeah.
Crazy thing. You would think. I mean, you land a takedown, you would kind of win a fight. Nope, not him. 1-4. Yeah, 1-4 in fights when he lands a takedown. It's crazy. I didn't even think about that till I looked it up. But yeah, I think Holland has way more ways of winning than Stewart does, and I think the line is correct. I don't think we're really going to get a closer line on Holland until he fights someone in the top 15, and I'm going to be very impressed. It's going to be exciting to see him face someone who's actually, in the top 15 because he's looking good right now, and I want to see if he's the real deal. And mind you, Kevin Holland's never been knocked down in his entire career. You're talking about a guy that faced Thiago Santos in his prime and on 5 days' notice after fighting on the Contender Series and did not get knocked out against Thiago Santos, while everybody before him was getting absolutely demolished. So kudos to him for not getting finished via KO there. So, yeah, I'm on Holland here, minus 260. I still think it's a great line, to be honest with you. I think it should be like a TJ Laramie type line. So they're still giving some bias because of what Stewart did in his last fight against Maki Pitolo. But, yeah, we're still getting a good line here, minus 260. All right. Next up in the women's strawweight division, we have a fight between Mackenzie Dern and Rhonda Marcos. Right now, Dern's on minus 170 favor in the comeback on Marcos at plus 160 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, I am huge on my girl, Mackenzie Dern. I just feel like this is such a gimme fight. I don't know why that line isn't actually bigger. I wasn't sure if there was something I was personally missing, but this is actually one of my favorite bets on the night. You got Mackenzie Dern, who I always say is a real black belt when I say credentialed, and credentialed almost topped out, in the IBJJF circuit. And you're going against Randa Marcos, who's been submitted by Angela Hill, been submitted by Rose Namajunas. I'm sure there's even more names that I'm forgetting. Don't get me wrong. Yes, those submissions were a little while ago, but most recently she was submitted by Angela Hill last year in 2019, and we all know Angela Hill's a stand-up girl,
Yeah.
So now you're taking a credentialed black belt who's been doing submissions since she was a kid. Her dad is like, I think Megaton. He was like a IBJJF black belt in his own right. So it's one of those things where I don't know why the lines are this close. Wasn't sure if there's something I was personally missing. I'm hoping Mackenzie Dern comes in focus. I know she just had a baby coming off a little bit of a layoff, but at the same time, if she comes in focus, pulls guard, she can pull guard and I think finish this fight, honestly. And fight smart, then this should be a gimme fight, honestly. She's in all of my parlays, so this is the make 'em or break 'em fight for me.
I don't see how she loses. I mean, this is a winnable fight to give her some credibility because she's really fought no one good other than Amanda Ribas, but Amanda Ribas is still like is a prospect, not like she hasn't solidified herself as one of the best yet. So they're trying to give her someone to show, oh yeah, she's still real deal. She beat a veteran in Ronda Marcos who's had 5+ fights. So they're just giving that to her. Really, here, take her. I don't think Ronda should be in there with her. I don't think she's that good. She's been submitted by much less BJJ fighters. Like you said, Angela Hill is one of them who doesn't ever take anybody down. She's a Muay Thai fighter. But, yeah, I mean, she has this fight all day. I'm taking a stab on Dern by decision, a plus 360. I know it's crazy because she probably should get a submission fairly easily. But plus 360 on a decision, I'm throwing a little bit on that. But I also am taking Dern by submission plus 140, which is a steal, which is an absolute steal, to be honest with you, considering the line where she's at minus 160. And then I'm also parlaying Dern by submission and Silva by submission, which gives me about plus 650 parlay as well.
Nice.
I think those are good, precise. Only two things need to happen. Bold subs. And guess what? Both girls get subs. So, I mean, $10 wins you $65, people. That's it. $10. But yeah, I'm on Dern here as well. I'm glad they're giving us such a great line because that leads us to the submission prop that's at plus money where it should be minus 120 at least. Mm-hmm. And then if you even think about it, if you think she's going to get the finish, the under 2.5 rounds is plus 122. Plus 122 in the under 2.5 rounds. I think that's great, especially on in a smaller octagon. They're going to be clinched up a ton. Mm-hmm. All right, so next up in the light heavyweight division, we have a fight between Johnny Walker and Ryan Spann. Johnny Walker is a minus 125 favorite. The comeback on Ryan Spann is a plus 115 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm leaning towards Spann. I don't think you can really trust Johnny Walker at this time. He's shown that he's a little of a wild. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it's just not trustworthy with my money. Honestly, you don't know. Yeah. I think he's been a little bit of a hype job since he's gotten to the UFC and he's been exposed a little bit. I think Spann comes in with a good game plan as long as he doesn't get caught with no crazy stuff. Should be an easy victory. And that's how I look at it.
I see the exact same. I kind of flip-flopped here. I'm not going to lie. I did have Johnny Walker at first, but looking over it, he kind of reminds me of I forgot his name. Jimmy Manuwa. When Jimmy Manuwa came into the UFC, coming in, knocking dudes out, big hype train. And then once he started fighting the elite, they took him out fairly quickly. And I think the same thing is going to happen here. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's still lost on the regional scene before coming into UFC. And then, he's getting these flash knockouts. That shit kind of happens. It's MMA. But it doesn't happen all the time. What happens when it doesn't happen all the time? You're supposed to win those fights. Well, he didn't. He got derailed twice, back to back. And I think it's going to happen here. Ryan Spann, he's got power. He's got grappling. He's got jiu-jitsu. I think he's a black belt at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. I think he's just an all-around better fighter. Just hope he doesn't get clipped. That's my only issue. Because he does have a bit of a chin issue, as we saw in his last fight against Sam Alvey, who is basically a 185er that can't cut weight anymore. So, yeah. But I'm taking Ryan Spann here, dog money plus 115. All right. Next up in the middleweight division, we have a fight between Gerald and Mirashar and Khamzat Chimaev. Right now, Chimaev is a minus 445 favorite. Wow. And Mirashar is a plus 395 underdog. What do you got?
I mean,
Wow.
how do
That's
you? I
crazy.
don't know if you can really go with an unproven guy at minus 400. So
Right?
I think
He's
the
not just unproven, though. He's only 7 fights in his pro career.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. I'm thinking the same thing. Is there something that I missed? Don't get me wrong. I didn't watch his two back-to-back fights, but at the same time, I'm like, man, give Gerald some respect a little bit. At the end of the day, I understand. I just feel like the hype machine has been put on this guy. He's already booked to fight Damian Maya in a month, and they're just shitting on Mershall like he's some bum a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think the only way you can play any of this is Mershall with Adam and in some of your fun parlays. I know me particularly, I have like a little $10 bet. I think with him and some of the favorites. So even if he gets it done, then I think that flips to like $400, $500. And if he loses, $10 isn't gonna, hurt me. But
Absolutely.
I think you're almost stupid not to even throw something on Merschalt in this fight, let alone trust a guy who's still relatively unknown at negative 400.
Bro, like, I'm just trying to figure out what has Kamaev done to warrant minus 445 against someone that has 6 times the experience. 6 times the experience. That's insane. And Mirsha's not even old. He just fought that many times. I'm just trying to figure that out. It just baffles me. He's beaten Reese McKee, who's a welterweight, and he beat Josh Phillips. I think that's his name is Josh Phillips. Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
something like that. But he's garbage as well. So, and that warrants a minus 445 price tag? Absolutely not. And then warrants him to book 2 fights in a month? Absolutely not as well. That's crazy. This is the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt he's going against in his entire career, his short career. He's only a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, might I add. And you think he's going to steamroll this man? He's not going to steamroll him. He's actually the biggest fighter that he's faced in his entire career as well. He's not going to just be able to pick him up and put him down and keep him there. It's a dicey fight. Taking him minus 445, that's a no-no for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he does smash, okay, even if he does do it, are
Mm-hmm.
you willing to pay the minus 445 price tag? I'm not.
Yep.
I am not at all. All right. So what else we got? Next up in the co-main event of the evening, we have a fight between Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Nico Price, which is going to be one of the best fights of 2020. I can guarantee you that. Right now, Price is a minus 140 favorite in the comeback. Cerrone is a plus 130 underdog. Who do you got?
I know you're probably not going to agree with me, but I'm going with old Donald Cerrone on this one.
Ah,
I
darn it.
know, I know it. And you know why? It's because, Donald, I think right now, he's coming off a loss. What's his most recent one, Connor?
Yeah, shoulder
Yeah.
strikes.
No, I just think Donald comes in focused. Whenever I really only loses to top competition. No knock on Nico. I just think Donald's more technical. He slows it down. Nico's going to throw some wild shit. I think he's going to eat a few jabs, some kicks. He might go for a takedown, but I just don't see him out jiu-jitsuing Donald Cerrone. To add insult to injury, I personally think even adding it, him against James Vick. James Vick was winning that fight before he caught him with that up kick. So at the same time, I look at it, I'm like, man, Donald Cerrone comes disciplined in the fight. I think he catches Nico with a submission or wins a decision. And I'm like, yeah, I'm leaning on Donald on this one.
No. It's not happening. Don't rain on my parade. But I'm a big Nico Price fan either way, so I'm always gonna bet on him. But it's just like I just think about it. Like he's like, how is he gonna take the punishment that Nico Price is gonna lay on him? Every fight that Donald Cowboy Cerrone loses is against forward pressure fighters. Tony, Gaethje, who else did he lose to? Connor. Guys are pushing him backwards. If Nico comes in, lets Cowboy dictate the pace, slow it down, and let him be at kicking range, by all means, Cowboy will win this fight. But if Nico Price fights like he normally fights, if Nico Price fights like Nico Price, he's gonna come forward and he's gonna throw hands, and then it's just gonna be Cowboy trying to back up, and just get punches and just get laid out. But I guess we'll see what happens.
I am right there with you, but I just don't think this is, unless Cowboys over the hump at this point. Let me read off Cowboys losses in the last. What do you want? The last 2, 3, 5 years?
Yes, he does. He has. I mean, he's only lost to the best of the best. Period.
Yes,
bar none. But this is at 170. This is not 155. This is a completely different ball. He's not good. I don't think he's that good at 170. He doesn't. His power doesn't translate at 170. I don't think his grappling translates at 170 either. He's slower at 170. He's tailor-made for 155.
Look, I 100% agree with everything you just said. But once again, when we look at his losses, Cowboy only loses to like top 5. You realize that?
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, and he didn't even lose to Pettis, though. He didn't even lose to Pettis, though, mind you.
No, he won that Pettis fight. That's what I'm saying.
He did.
If you look at it, he lost to Leon Edwards, but by unanimous decision. And I think Leon Edwards I thought Leon Edwards was going to kill him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. He did fight that fight really well. And I think that was a 5-rounder, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So unless we get a Cowboy that's over the hump, I'm going with Cowboy in this one to pull it out.
I see it. I see the avenue of victories for him, but I'm hoping my man Nico Price pulls through and cashes some bets for us. But anyways, we're up to the main event of the evening. Great fight, a fight that we've been waiting for years now. Unfortunately, I think it's a little too late, depending on like what kind of fighter we're getting out of these two, but we're finally here. This fight is happening. This is a great fight, and I can't wait to see it. We have a fight between Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley in the welterweight division. All right. So, who do you got, my man? I mean, right now, Colby's a minus 310 favorite in the comeback on Tyron Woodley's a plus 285 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, I mean, for the culture, I have to go with Tyron Woodley. But, for my money, I'm sitting off this fight altogether. I'm hoping we get a fired up amped Woodley who doesn't, just go to a decision and looks like a deer in headlights the whole 3-5 rounds, whatever this fight is. I really hope we get a Woodley who lets his hands go. Because if not, it's going to be a long night. We all know Kobe's going to come forward, push the pace, throw punches, go for takedowns, and just, overall manhandle. And that's the pace we're going to get from Kobe. I was very impressed with his fight with Kamaru until the knockout happened. But the biggest thing, I don't think Kamaru, I don't think Tyron, especially after that Gilbert fight, I don't know if the same Tyron's there. So hopefully we get a motivated Tyron who puts up a fight and maybe catches Kobe. But do I see it happening? Not enough for me to lay my money on. At the same time, I just don't know which Kobe we're going to see. Coming off a broken jaw, who knows if, Tyron comes out there winging that right hand, he might be a little hesitant. Who knows? And then it becomes a wrestling battle. So, for all the marbles and, with my betting expertise, I am not playing this fight at all. If anything, I may go back to the sports book and play something small on Woodley, on a little Hail Mary, all the underdogs win, Woodley parlay. But outside of that, no, I'm chilling on this fight.
All right, so we're finally here. This fight's finally happening, and we get two fighters at the complete opposite of their careers. I think Colby still is in his prime. His only loss in the last forever was Kamaru Usman, who was a champion, who was 2-2 against him going into the 5th round. It was a very close fight. Colby was fighting with a broken jaw, during the fight, and it just took 2 more rounds to really put him out. And arguably, that was an early stoppage. I think Colby was, getting, the wits back to him and stuff like that. I don't think he was completely out. So then in comes Woodley, who's lost numerous fights. He doesn't throw anymore. His volume has diminished immensely. I have no idea what happened. Even in the Darren Till fight, he didn't throw for the first 1.5 rounds. He just got lucky that the only shot he landed, put him out. And then he's going against Colby Covington, who has the most volume in the division. He's got the most volume on his takedowns in the division. I don't know what Woodley's going to do here to stop all of that. Is he going to go for takedowns? Probably not. Is he going to knock him out? Also probably not. So my thing is I'm taking Colby here. I'm taking him by decision, -155. And if it comes down to it and I want to hedge, I will take Woodley by KO as a hedge at +480. I don't know what Woodley could possibly do over the course of 25 minutes to win a decision here. He's not going to throw enough volume. He's not going to land multiple knockdowns and not put him away. And he's not going to wrestle and get top control. So Woodley basically is KO or bust, in my opinion. And then I'm taking Colby by decision. I think he absolutely outworks him. And Woodley's done, man. Woodley is done. I mean, this is the guy that had to bring in Masvidal for this fight. I'm like, what? What is Masvidal going to do for you to game plan for a guy that can't defend takedowns against Kamaru Usman? I'm not understanding this concept here. It's not like Masvidal is gonna, imitate what Colby does just because they train together. That's I don't know, but that's just my take. I'm taking Colby here. I think he's an absolute lock, and I know he should be getting another title shot too because I think that was a really close fight. Give him 2-3 more wins and let Kamaru Usman beat whoever he has to beat, Burns. And then maybe one other person, and then they rematch again because I think it's gonna be a good fight, a good rematch between the two when it finally does happen. Yep. But that's what we got for you guys. But before we go, man, what could you give you guys? What would you give someone as like a parlay piece?
A parlay. So actually, I can pull out my little.
Or like, what's your best bets? What do you think?
My best bets. Let me pull out my ticket here so you guys can ride with me. As you see, I got a few. This is probably the number one that I would recommend here is Mackenzie Dern, Silva, and TJ Laramie. That is one of the huge plays that I like right there. Second, let me get one more.
Wait, what was that again? That was Dern, TJ Laramie,
and Silva.
And Silva. +193, not bad.
Yes. And this is my other little parlay that I feel pretty confident about. We got Dern, Newsom, Silva, Laramie, and a little bit of Alpar action. That's my other parlay action for $20.
So Dern, Newsom, Silva, and Alper?
And Laramie. Yep.
+1,476.
Yeah, that is my little action. I think I'm going to play a few more before the fights start, but yeah.
That's a good one. That's actually pretty good because you're getting 14.76 times the money you're putting out. It's really good. I like it, sir. That's very, very, very good. All right. Before we head out, I got to shout out our sponsors. Guys, head over to manscaped.com for the best in male grooming products. Use promo code TFTA20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Also, guys, head over to Our Life CBD for the best in CBD products. Use promo code TFA10 for 10% off your order. But, my man, where can everyone find you on social media?
You guys can catch me at Why So Serious MMA on both Twitter and Instagram. Facebook, I've been getting a lot of weird friend requests, and I don't know half these people or have any mutual friends. So hold off on Facebook for a little bit. I don't know if the bots are out, but I've been holding off on thinking new ones.
All right, guys, you know where to find me at Fight Analyst on Twitter, The Fight Analyst on Instagram and Facebook. And guys, go like and subscribe on YouTube, please. Where are you doing? Go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. That would be great for us. Also, guys, head over to thefightanalyst.com to get my pick packages for tonight's cards. Only $25. We're going to make a ton of money like we've always been. We're coming off a sweep of the last Contender Series for the season. Picks back up in November. But, yeah, head over to fightanalyst.com. Get my packages tonight. We're going to make a ton of money. But with that said, we will see you guys cashing out at the ticket window.